If anyone is watching this and you're in a divorce, don't use your kids. Just don't use your
Yeah.
kids. It's so nasty and it's abusive. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I have a very awesome guest, a very important guest. I've already interviewed this woman about, 3 years ago or something, but I'll let you know about that in a minute. But before we get forward, thanks for liking, subscribing, commenting, joining the channel, helping you. I have AJ here who, anyway, why don't you just introduce yourself first, AJ, and then we'll get right into it.
Sure. My name is AJ. I currently live in upstate New York, but my custody case is in New Jersey, where I lived with my daughter. I have at this point had zero parenting time in 4 years. During the pandemic in November of 2020, my daughter made a declaration that she was a boy. And I felt that I was supportive in the way that, I was like, okay, I wanted to ask a lot of questions about it, but if you want to wear bow ties and cut your hair short and wear shorts in the pool, all those things, I was like, that's all fine, but
Mhm.
we need to talk about where these feelings came from and things like, what does it mean to be a boy? What does that mean to you? Um, in on the other hand, my ex-husband and his wife went full blown, full left wing, got, got her a boy makeover, whatever that means. And uh, in a very short amount of time, managed to get a radical trans activist attorney involved. And once she was involved, within 2 months, I was separated from my daughter on a temporary separation, and it's been over 4 years and I haven't gotten her back, and I still have an open case in court. I'm still fighting for it right now. I have an open motion in court in Passaic County in New Jersey that all I'm asking for is two 15-minute phone calls per week and family therapy. I'm not asking for, overnights. I'm not even asking for dinner. I just want to know my kid, and I'm not
Yeah.
allowed to know my kid. Um, there have been a lot of changes since the last time I've spoken with you, Buck.
Hmm.
My daughter has, while when we first talked, she was using a he pronoun and had very short hair and all the things. She just had her 16th birthday, and she is an absolutely beautiful 16-year-old girl with gorgeous long hair and, all the things that 16-year-old girls have. She's in the marching band, and I've gone to many performances, and I've seen her at practice in like little booty shorts and tank tops and like pigtails, braids. She's a girl. Um, which is precisely what I imagined was going to happen. Like, I understand that kids are get confused about things, they want to experiment with things, they want to try things out,
Hmm. Hmm.
and that it's appropriate to, allow them space to experiment and find out about themselves and find out about the world. But I didn't want to involve medication. I was absolutely adamant that we don't interfere with growing bodies. That, like, as long as your body is growing, that we don't mess with that. We don't interfere with that. And then once you have stopped growing, it becomes more appropriate to talk about what really happened, what to do
Hmm.
next.
Hmm.
That was my stance. It's
Hmm.
a reasonable stance. And
It's actually the normal response to do, really.
it,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
perfectly
Yeah.
reasonable.
Yeah.
um it's safe.
Yeah.
Like, we don't introduce medication for of all kinds of things that little, growing people want to do to their bodies. And like, we
That's
don't,
right.
we don't let kids make medical decisions because they have no context for what their bodies are actually doing.
Hmm.
But I think that my ex-husband and his wife got a lot of positive attention, from going full force in the direction that they went. And like I said, they got a radical activist attorney involved, and I have been dismissed. Like, and in time, in 4 years, this child is now claims to be afraid of me. I'm not sure how accurate
Mm.
that is. It's third party knowledge, but I mean, I
Oh,
text her 3, 4 times a week. I send gifts. I go to, her performances. 2 weeks ago, I went to her house on a Saturday afternoon. It was 3 days before her birthday, but I wanted to go there to give her her presents in person. And my ex-husband answered the door and claimed that she wouldn't come to the door. I don't know. I don't know what she knew about what I was doing there, but like he took the gifts out of my hand and closed the door. And that I don't know if she got them. I don't know. It's
yeah.
it's as if I didn't never existed.
I know. It's heartbreaking to even, but wow, I have to say, AJ, you've kept such a great attitude, even in the conversations we've had on email. We've kept in contact with each other, which is awesome. I think I want to ask you a couple questions here. So you haven't seen her. You've gone to her like
I've
marching
seen her
band
from
stuff or
the audience.
from the audience, right? But you haven't really had any contact with her, no touching or hugging or talking, no, even conversing with her. Yeah.
I mean, I sent, like I said, I send her text messages. I send her, Facebook
Oh,
memories every day.
yeah.
Sends photos of like you posted this 5 years ago, 7 years ago, 11 years ago, and I send her the pictures because, like, I don't know, her father wasn't around much of the time when she was little. He was in the Navy. He was gone. It was just me and her. So, like,
Oh,
she should have photos of herself as a kid. I think. I mean, like, if nothing
yeah.
else, and like I send her pictures of her with other family members and she and I together. And like, remember when you wore this silly lion costume to sit on Santa's lap? You insisted on
Yeah.
wearing the lion suit. And like, just cute things that kids, she should have that stuff, I guess.
Well, no, you're being a good mom. So now what I heard from you was that she's looking more like a girl now. Like she's
Oh my
wearing
God.
like girl
That,
clothes, and what does that mean? Is she identifying as trans still or no?
I don't, it's hard to say because
Mm,
as my ex-husband only uses the they pronoun when
mm,
referencing her. In I only really communicate with him through the lawyers, through like legal paperwork, although
sure.
last week when I went to the house, or 2 weeks ago when I went to the house, he used, they are spending time with a friend right now, they can't come to the
Yeah.
door.
Okay.
My attorney said something interesting a few months ago. He said that it appears like documents have been altered, that like
Mm,
before this happened, um, we used the she pronoun, of
mm-hmm,
course, because she's a
mm-hmm,
girl. And
mm-hmm,
then it went to the he pronoun, and now it's the they
mm,
pronoun. But he said it
mm.
looks as though historical documents have been altered to all say they. I don't have access to it's called the JEDS in New Jersey. It's called the JEDS system. It's like
Okay.
the judicial something something. I
Okay.
don't have access to that, but that's what he said, which was bizarre that like that
What? How could they?
that would
I mean,
be
my
allowed to
God.
happen.
I
But like
know for a
I've gone to
16-year
parent
old.
teacher conferences. I've spoken to the parents of her friends at the school. I mean, I try to be her mom the best way I can. Everybody uses the she pronoun. I even got my primary care physician. I found out who her primary care physician was, and then I switched so that that doctor is now my doctor, and that doctor uses the
Oh.
she pronoun. Everybody
Oh.
refers to her as she, except for John and his lawyer, my ex-husband and his lawyer.
Oh, that's interesting. That's
Very interesting. Like
yes.
it's the last thing that he has to stand on that is keeping me from accessing her.
I
It's his
know.
last level of control.
It sounds so creepy. It just really sounds creepy. It sounds more like, in my opinion, it's coming from him. And even when I first did my first interview with you, I'll put a link to it here so everybody can go listen to it. It's heartbreaking, but same thing. He was just so adamant to shut her out of your life, and I didn't feel like you can easily, and she was 12 or 13 at this time, I think, right? And it's easy to
Yeah, I think
manipulate a 12, right, or 13-year-old to say certain things are happening with. How come what this judicial system is so so nauseating to me? I talk to other parents, same stuff you're going through, and always one parent seems to get all the control. I don't understand that. I honestly don't understand how legally you're not. Aren't you legally supposed to have 50-50 sort of a
on
custody
paper,
of your?
to this day, I still have 50-50 custody. On paper,
Then
I still have it. I have a temporary order of protection because on on the last day that my daughter was in my house, we got into a fight, an argument over bedtime. She
sure.
didn't want to go to bed when it was her bedtime, and she
Mm-hmm.
had a
Mm-hmm.
meltdown and she was screaming and she punched me in the face and she
Oh,
started a fire in the kitchen.
oh no.
And
Wow.
right. And because were already experiencing, she was already going through a lot
Mm,
of
mm,
emotional stuff. She'd gotten in trouble in
mm.
school. She brought knives to school. She had done all these
Okay.
things because she was
Okay.
struggling already.
Hmm.
Um, I had a court mandate that said that anytime there was an act of violence in my home, I had to report it to this third party at risk
Hmm.
children organization. And once she
Sure.
started the fire, I was like, I can't not call, because if I
Of
get
course.
caught not calling, now I've broken the rules. And
That's right.
I
That's right.
have from the very beginning, even before the trans stuff started, my ex-husband was still terrorizing me and trying to drive a wedge between us. But I
Yeah.
have always followed the rules precisely because I was so afraid that if I messed up, that like it would be my fault.
Of
That
course.
like, and so whatever, and they have put me through one after another humiliation and degradation and institutional abuse, and I have just done what I'm supposed to do. So on that day I called this third party organization. They dispatched the police to the house. The police
Right.
came. I begged them not to take her in an ambulance, but they took her in an ambulance. They took her to the hospital, and I never got her back after that. I mean, I went with her and I sat there in the emergency room till 4 in the
Sure.
morning, and then I called my ex-husband as I was supposed to do, and he came and he sat there. And on that particular day, he was supposed to pick her up from school later that day, and his custody time was supposed to start. Um,
Right.
it was 4 a.m. So I said to him, "Well, it's crazy. She's not going to school, obviously. So why don't you just take her,
Uh-huh.
and we'll all get some sleep. We'll figure this out in the morning." And then I never got her back, and so they put this temporary order of protection on for my benefit, um, that has never been lifted. And no matter how many times I have begged, pleaded, stamped my foot,
Wow.
spent tens of thousands of dollars in
Yeah.
court saying, I just want my kid back. I don't need to be protected from her. From the moment that happened, I was like, I don't need to be protected from her. She's 11 years old. Like, I don't
Right.
need this. Like, just give me my
Right.
kid back.
Yeah.
I've never gotten her back. And so I'm still under a temporary custody order. I have not paid any child support in 4 years because we're supposed to have 50-50 custody.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
that there's no child support from anyone, and he won't allow me to give them any money. I've tried to give money. I've tried to pay for school trips. I've tried to, buy her winter coats, or to do all these things. Because the moment that I give them money, give that family money, he loses the ground that he's standing on that says that I don't give them any money.
Oh, he's pulling. Oh, I see what's going on here. Exactly. And once you get into the court system, sadly to say, this kind of stuff happens. It's not the first time I've heard of this stuff. And
Right.
especially in divorces and messy kind of divorces when they're not getting along and then the kid is in the middle. There could easily be, I'm not saying it is, in my opinion, there easily could be a manipulation of your child from the other side. 100% there could be. Your mom's
I think
crazy,
so.
you don't want to go there. Like easily they could be. They have all the time to do that with her. I want to say that since the time I talked to now, I feel that your child is coming out of the trans thing because they went from
Oh,
saying he to
absolutely.
they, right?
Well, yeah, and like I said, my ex-husband's the only one that uses that pronoun. None of her teachers. I've
Yeah,
been to
that's
4
interesting.
back to school nights since then. I've
Yeah,
met every teacher.
they say she.
She's in the marching band. The band is a big part of her life. They're in like she
Yeah,
goes to this.
great,
She lives in a very expensive district with a very fancy
great,
traveling competition band. She's in the band
great.
room hours and hours every week, and that
Wow.
teacher refers to her as
Says
she
she. That
always.
then that it's happening. She's out of that
Yeah.
whole thing. But you might. This is very true. He could be
I
manipulating
saw
the
her in a
situation.
performance like a month ago. She was in like 6-inch heels, like boots, but they were like 6-inch heels and like a really
Oh my
beautiful
god.
black pantsuit with her hair halfway. She's gorgeous. She's a beautiful
She looks like a
young
girl.
woman.
She's not trans anymore. Then she's not.
Not
She's not identifying. No, she's not. You're right. The husband, the dad, is totally sounds to me very much. Can I ask you like
driving.
a personal question? I don't remember if I asked you in our first interview. If you don't want to answer, don't worry, and I can also just cut this out if that's the case. Did you guys have a horrible breakup, you and him?
We had a bad
Yeah,
marriage,
yeah,
had a horrible, messy divorce,
yeah,
and
yeah,
he produced, the 5 days after our divorce was finalized,
yeah.
a woman was introduced to my daughter, and 3 months later, I was told by my daughter that her father and his parents were telling her it's okay to call this woman mom, and
What? Oh
then
my
they got
god.
married, and I started to hear, they told me to call her mom, but I don't want to call her that. You're my mom. And
Oh my
slowly they
god.
just worked on her and worked on her. And then once
Yes,
this trans thing showed up, it was
yes.
over for me.
That's, I mean, wow, it just seems so much like that. I'm in a family where my partner has an ex, and they had actually not a bad breakup, and we share the kid, and we're all solid and good, and there's no nonsense. So I just feel for you because this is what happens. The kids see this stuff happening, and then your ex does not like you. And so he could be weaponizing your own child against you. And then once the trans thing came in, he was smart enough to see that that's a way to manipulate the situation.
I
Wow.
100%
Yes.
believe that's exactly what happened. He saw an opportunity and he
Yes.
ran at it.
It's so disgusting, AJ. I see so many of these. You can't imagine how many parents reach out to me. Not so much divorce, but even the last three people I talked to was dads, though. It's interesting. It's the opposite. It's usually the moms who are transing the kids, right? You notice that?
I have.
And not the dads.
I
So it's a very rare.
I suspect that his wife
Oh,
has been a heavy driver of this.
ooh. That's
She
so
refers to herself
crazy.
as queer, even
As
though she's
what?
married to. She refers to herself as queer, and he has screamed at me that
There
she,
you
she's
go.
queer, and I'm like, but you guys are married to each other, though, right?
They're not.
I strongly suspect that she is the driver.
100%. I'm gonna literally agree with you. Right? She's queer and she's married to a man. These people are nuts. I'm telling you, man. How do you think I feel coming from literally that
I
community? And everyone's a queer person now. Like, and you're straight. You're married to a dude, and like, what? That is so. You're right. It sounds on some level like it could be coming from that person, but to get back to this to your daughter, and I'm going to call her your daughter because I
Yeah,
believe
I do.
she is
I
your
stopped. For
daughter.
the longest time, I was very careful to use the right pronouns because I
Of
didn't want to,
course.
even though I knew it wasn't
Of
what was
course.
happening,
Of
I
course.
didn't want to get caught saying
That's
the
right.
wrong. But now it doesn't
No. Yeah.
once the kid's
No.
out in the world in booty shorts and pigtails, like I can use she.
And
That's how I
heels and
feel.
a pantsuit and long
Yep.
hair and looking like a girl.
Yep.
If everyone is actually calling her she, I'm pretty sure she's not identifying. But it sounds like they brainwashed her to feel like you're a wingnut and stay away from
Yep.
mom because she's nutty and this is so gross, people. I hope everyone who's watching this just listen to me. I have spoken with AJ for years. We have been in contact. I've been watching the whole thing happen. you're just getting this first glimpse about her. Go back to look at the first interview. You AJ loves this kid beyond, and you have not given up, and you will not give up, and that is just says so much to me that you care so much about your child. And the whole thing is so disgusting, and I hate divorces like this. I think it's so selfish and disgusting that he's doing that, and because the child is now losing out on their actual mother for how many 4 years
It's
she's
been
been
over
away from
four
you.
years.
Fuck, man,
And
that
in
is
that
just not
time,
okay.
like I
Mm-mm.
have I at some point after the last time we talked, I got this wild hair in my head that I was like, I'm gonna change my whole life and I'm going to
Mm.
make her I'm gonna do something that she's gonna want to be with me. So I
Great.
stopped I started a whole new career as a music festival coordinator, and now like I legitimately work with like rock stars and like world famous painters and EDM artists, and like
Great.
I have
Great.
this like very cool life. I work in the film industry, like I do all these
Great.
things, and like she still won't come anywhere. Last year, I had the girl that used to be her best friend when we were,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
a
Uh-huh.
family, whose
Uh-huh.
mother is one of my best friends. I
Uh-huh.
had her like working with me. I had her working the green room at this music festival. And like, here's this 16-year-old kid who's surrounded by all these rock stars, and she's like
Wow.
taking their lunch order and
Wow.
like hanging out with them. And she was like, why isn't your daughter here? And I was like, you know why. You know
So
why?
that
And she's like,
you,
she even this kid was like, she is missing everything.
it's so
I was like,
sad. She's going to be so mad when she grows up and she sees what happened. She is going to actually not like her dad, just so you know. She's going to be so mad at him for doing this. And because it's going to come out, the truth will come out. But what I wanted to ask you was in the beginning when you talked about the sort of separation and then she was with you and then there was the stipulation when she was acting out. I think you were saying
yeah,
she got mad and whatever, she had to go to bed and then she acted out and then she lit a fire in the kitchen. Was that close to the time when you were just getting a divorce and the
no, no, it
situation
had been
was
several years at that point. It
oh,
had
but
been
she was acting
three
out.
years.
She was acting
She
out.
started acting out during COVID. Every
It was
kid
COVID.
had, and
That's
when
right. That's right.
that September of 2020, her school reopened, and we decided to not send her to school. We decided together, her father and I, we were going to keep her home because there was an option for them to continue to do online with the kids because she had
Okay.
very bad asthma. She still
Okay.
has very bad asthma and she takes daily
Okay.
medication for it. And I think it's crazy to send a kid who has this kind of issue into what could potentially be danger. But then after a
Totally.
couple of months,
Mm-hmm.
like she was so depressed that we
Mm-hmm.
decided we should try, maybe it's worth it to see what happens. She went to a very
Mm-hmm.
small charter school, like a like
Mm-hmm.
tiny little,
Mm-hmm.
and there was only
Mm-hmm.
12 kids in the room. So we decided, but the first day that we sent her back, I got pulled out of the pickup line by the vice principal because she had snuck two knives into school and told the kids that she was going to slit her wrists that day. So
Oh, she was struggling. She was totally
she was
struggling with
struggling
stuff.
bad.
Yeah.
And so this incident that the last time she was with me was about 3 weeks later.
I see. But she was struggling on something and then she got online. So did I think we might have discussed that. She got online and that's probably where she got the ideology, the trans, which
Yes.
is what
Yes.
all these kids who are struggling
Yep.
already just sucked into the trans ideology online.
Yep.
It's so sick, it's so sick. But see, naturally, she's growing out of it. Naturally, because she's not trans. She never was trans. She just needed something because she was,
But I think
divorce is
that's the way
hard.
that he's controlling me through the court because the court won't budge on it. The court, and especially in New Jersey, New Jersey's very, very liberal. They
Oh,
very much like
oh,
California. Like
oh.
they're very, very staunchly liberal in that sense. And I think that as long as he can hold that line, he can control my access.
That's right. You're totally right. It's like I live in California, also same thing, super liberal. Like somehow he's manipulating the courts. Like you're the bad mom who's not doing the pronouns, and you know what I mean. You're like not respecting their pronouns and their gender affirmation bullshit. Like totally, that's totally what's
I mean,
going
I
on.
currently I live in a shared house situation with a homosexual person,
Okay.
a trans person, and me and another heterosexual. There's four of us that live in the
Yeah.
house together.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have no problem, and I
Of
like
course.
I. It's not a question of me being a bigot or a homophobe or a
Please,
transphobe.
AJ.
It's all.
No.
Well, no,
No,
I
I
know
never
you know
thought
it.
that.
You
I
know
never
me,
thought that.
but
And
like
people, but
the
they'll
rest
try
of
to
the
say
people,
that, right? But they'll try to say that. I get what you're getting at, 100%. But they
right,
never look at the whole picture. They're only listening to your ex say
right,
because he has control. He literally has control of the situation. Totally.
yep.
Wow. What are your next steps now?
So supposedly there is a hearing on June 12th that's coming up
Great.
that will
Great.
solidify whatever happens next. But I don't have much hope for it. The judge that has been on the case, we've had three, they're called CMCs. They're like not
Mm.
really hearings, but they're they're meetings of the judge and everyone involved. In the last three, I have not been allowed to hear my attorneys argue my case. Like I haven't been allowed in the room. They're over Zoom. They've all been
What?
over Zoom this whole time, but I'm always given like a Zoom link and they just leave me in the waiting room. And I'm certain my attorney would tell me if my ex-husband was allowed in the room. He's not allowed in the
Yeah.
room either, but like so it's just the
Oh.
attorney, right? So
Oh.
I don't really know what's going on in there. They give
But
me like
what's
a
the hearing for? What are they talking about?
I'm
What's it? For?
asking for two 15-minute phone calls and
Oh,
family therapy.
right. I
And
see.
like
That's right.
I'm
Yes.
losing. I'm losing bad. I'm not going to get it.
I would love to know
But
why you're losing. I would love to know why. What is it that you, in the 4 years that you have
yeah,
been just there present as a mom, even though I'd love to know what it is that they are using as the ammunition against you. What, I mean, I'm dying to
I
know
do
what
have
they're
an
saying.
answer. I
Yeah.
do have an answer for that. So back when this was all happening, this trans activist attorney
Yeah.
got one of her cohorts, a forensic psychologist, to do an evaluation that was totally bunk. And I talked about this in the last thing. It was
Oh,
totally bunk, and I had all
that's
this
right.
evidence that was presented that was like, that things that she said that were just categorically untrue. She
Right.
interviewed my doctor, and I have a recording of my doctor saying, like, I was like, this is what she put in the report. And he was like, I didn't say that at all. Like, I had, like, hard, the judge would not accept it in whatever case. And they told me that I had to attend a 3 month part time, partial
Right.
inpatient psychiatric
That's right.
program, which I
Yeah.
did enroll in and I did go through, but after 30 days, they were like, you don't belong here. Like, we have to discharge you. We cannot keep you in
Wow.
this program. You don't belong here. And I was like, I have to do this amount of time. So they
Wow.
discharged me. We presented all this to the court 3 years ago. The court said, nope, sorry, you did it wrong. So I had to, at that point, I had completely depleted every penny that I had. It took me another
Yes.
year and a half of working my ass off to save enough money to get to file another motion. And now this judge is saying that I have to complete this program. Well, I called my insurance company and I got them to give me a list, 5-page list of
Yeah.
every facility that they will pay for. And I
Okay.
called every single one of them and I gave them the criteria that the court is demanding. It has to be 3 months. It has to
Yeah.
be partial inpatient. It has to be this, like, and not one of them could provide. The court has to, they have to read the evaluation and report back to the court. Not one of them was able to say, like, we can do all of these things for you. You don't get to show up at a psych unit and tell them how to treat you. That's like not allowed. That's
Yeah.
not
No
how it
shit.
works. So when they're like, I'm sorry, like that's not how our program works. And I called every single one of them and we gave this information to the judge. And the judge was like, too bad, this is what you have to do. And it's
Oh
like, well,
my god.
this doesn't exist. So that's now where we're at.
It's literally it's just blowing my mind that you're the only parent who has to do that. They're not
Yep.
making your ex do any of this psychological evaluation.
There was nothing in the forensic evaluation that was written, not one single thing negative said about my ex-husband. Not one single thing. Not one single thing that was
But what
even
about
remotely negative.
But what about you? And it doesn't count that you have these negative things towards him. That though, I'm so disgusted by the system. I am. It is so obviously one sided here. There's no way you can't pinpoint all this on one. If you doing that, in my opinion, he should be going through the mental evaluations as well. They're only looking at one parent, which is mind blowing to me. What?
I think it was because this particular trans activist attorney brought in
Yes.
her crony. And
Yes.
the court is so afraid of
Yes.
being seen as doing something that is transphobic that they
Transphobic.
will, yeah, they'll hold that line. It doesn't matter. The facts don't matter.
Facts don't matter. It's true. So
if I
that's
was
reality.
as if I was as unable to care, I mean, they talk about me as if I am unable to care for myself. Like
I
that, I wouldn't
know.
be
I
able
know.
to do any of the things that I do in my daily life, but none of that matters.
Well, I mean, there's so many things to say about that. It is actually a ridiculous behavior. And it just something about this whole thing is it's just wow. I mean, you have so much perseverance. It's incredible to me. I can't believe you didn't pull all your hair out by I mean, I'm laughing. It's not a laughing
There
matter,
are
but you
days that
know,
I've thought about
I
it.
mean, I know. We had those conversations. You were at your wits' end. You just were not knowing what to do. So that's why I really wanted to catch up with you and really, let's June 12th is your hearing. I think everybody needs to send you some good energy to sort of see if we can at least get you those 2 15-minute because you know what's going to happen, AJ, in those 15 is that 2 15-minute phone calls a week or a
That's all
month?
I'm at 2 15-minute phone calls a week and family therapy. That's
Um,
all I'm asking for.
and of course they don't want you to do that because what's going to happen is she's going to come out of the trance or the ideology, and then that's why they're trying to keep her away from you because they don't want you to have those two
Or
15
she's going to
any
realize that I'm not psychotic like they've
that's what I
painted me to
mean.
be.
That's what I
Yeah.
mean. Because they're
Yeah.
telling her something like mom's crazy, stay away from her, like, blah, 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 when clearly it's not true. And also, that's why they don't. That's what, because if they, oh my God, it's so obvious. It's just so obvious. And this is abusive. It's so abusive to you. It's sick.
It's institutional abuse.
Institutional abuse. That is actually what it is called. And you're not the only one. I keep saying it to you. I just don't want you to feel alone because you're not the
Yeah.
only one, especially around this trans insanity. Many parents are suffering in this kind of spot, and I can't wait to get out of it. I'm so sick and tired of it. It's from the mother, from the parents to the kids to surgery. Thank God. I just have to tell you, and you should this 4 years have been miserable for you, but you should thank the universe or God, whoever you're attached to, that she did not take hormones or do surgery.
Yes. Yes. Yep.
Seriously. The worst
Yep.
case is you lost these 4 years with her. Something's gonna happen and break, and she's gonna be able to come back to you. But if that's the worst case scenario, AJ, I think you're ahead of the game, to be honest with
Yeah.
you.
I do thank God that she hasn't hurt herself because
Oh
that's
my
what
God.
happens with with growing bodies when you step in and you make changes like that. I mean, these kids can't have orgasms, they can't
I
procreate,
know.
they can't do the things that their bodies were like are like we're animals, like we're meant to, we have like a biological determinant that is what we're
That's
supposed to
right.
do. We're supposed to make more of
That's right.
ourselves, or we start castrating our children.
Oh my
Something
God.
very, very wrong.
Yeah, and the fact that people are okay with it, a lot of people. I'm just like,
Yep.
what? This is not something a child could ever make a choice. See, I'm a
Right.
transsexual, and I'm telling you, No way should a child. I did all I needed to do until I was 30, right? And now I'm like, okay, I'm just going to live like a dude now. Like, this is good. Because I could do that. And I've done everything I needed to do. And I can make that choice at 30. And that's why I think people like you give me respect, because I would never, ever. And the fact that people don't listen to me, right? I have 30 something years experience in this
Yeah, that's crazy.
transitional space. It's crazy to me that people think I'm transphobic or kids know who they are. How many times have you changed since you were 12 years old? Look at your
Oh my
daughter
God. If I
has.
was stuck wearing the same clothes that I wore in seventh grade, I would be a very unhappy person, right? That's literally when I talk to people, that's what I say. I say, imagine if you had to, for the rest of your life, wear the same clothes you wore in seventh grade.
Great point. Excellent point. It's pathetic and disgusting. So now she's 16, which is awesome because even if it goes 2 more years, friend, she becomes an adult at 18. And maybe then, let's hope before that you get those 2 phone calls, because that's going to crack it right there. That's going to
Yeah.
literally crack, some kind of indoctrination that she, who knows though, maybe she does want to talk to you, but the dad is giving her some weird,
I
right?
have no
Some weird
idea if she even
information.
gets the text that I sent her, to be honest. I mean, like, he did
Exactly.
several years ago
Exactly.
change her phone number without telling me. And so I was texting a dead number. And then I found out through a
Wow.
friend. And
Wow.
the
I
court
just,
did relent on that and force me to force him to give me her new number. And there was a
well,
couple of
duh.
times, a couple, maybe like 8 times that she responded in that year
Oh.
to the
Oh.
text messages. But since then, like, I get nothing. So it could very well be that I'm texting nobody.
And
Like,
she
I don't
could be
know. I have
thinking
no way
that,
of knowing.
and she could be thinking that you're not talking to her, and she could be thinking that mom doesn't care
She
about me.
knows she knows that, like, I come to her events, though. I mean, she
Or
can
she
see me in
sees
the
you.
audience. She sees
She
me
sees
for
you.
sure. Yeah, I mean, I've volunteered. I've gone to, like, marching band competitions and, like, spent the entire day as a volunteer, like, sewing costumes and, like, making lunches and serving hot dogs and doing all things. And, like, it's as if I'm a ghost. Like, she acts as if I'm not there.
Well, she's just struggling. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's just
I
struggling.
don't
What?
I
What?
don't blame her. I think that
Of
it
course.
there
Yeah.
are times where it hurts me, but I
Yeah.
don't blame
Yeah.
her.
Thank you. I mean, that just says again, you're such a great mom. Of course not. It's not her. It's your ex's crazy stuff going on here. In my opinion, in what I see from the other side of the aisle, I'm like, nope, that's not using the kid. People in divorces who use children like this are disgusting, and he's gross because if he really did care about the kid, he would bring mom into it, and he would be in a situation to say you're important to her life. I That's why I don't like these kind of divorces. They piss me off beyond belief. It's like, why is he doing that? It's so gross and
Even if he
selfish. And
felt like I really was, like, unstable, you would think that at some point, if he cared about her, he would say, okay, the three of us will go to lunch.
yes, yes,
That would be
yes,
like, let's see how it goes. I will chaperone this situation, and I would
right.
agree to nothing. I get nothing.
That's why I'm telling
Nothing.
you. In my opinion, he's just being a complete asshole, and he doesn't like you, and so he's going to use. He's weaponizing your child. He's literally weaponizing. But I'm sorry, karma's a bitch, and it's going to come. What goes around comes around, and your daughter's going to grow up one day and be able as an adult to see all of it. And wow, just wow.
It scares me, though, Buck. I mean, I think that, like, there may be a time where she is an adult, and maybe she'll have, God forbid, knock on wood, but maybe she'll have
Yeah,
postpartum depression or something like that, and she'll
possible.
get this overwhelming sense of, what did I do to my mother? Like, what did I
Yeah, but there's a
do?
many. Yes, I can
I don't
understand
want
that.
that for her, but it's
But
possible.
that's you. I
Yeah,
let's
it's
just
just
hope
me
not.
catastrophizing.
Yep, let's hope more than anything. Let's just hope she gets to have some contact with you soon, and that at least that starts to break open, and then all the other damage that has been done to her can maybe be undone somehow, right? So If anyone is watching this and you're in a divorce, don't use your kids. Just don't use your
Yeah.
kids. It's so nasty and it's abusive and weird. So what? You two don't get along. Divorce is a good thing, by the way. Divorce, we should all push on divorce because why should two people live together hating? But that doesn't mean the child needs to be put into the adults, you know, nonsense that's going on.
Yeah,
Separate.
she's not.
Yeah,
I mean, talk about objectifying a human being.
that's right. That's exactly right, friend. That's right. So with that, AJ, thanks for contacting me and getting a follow up on this because people do ask about you. They always ask about what's happening with you. So I'm really excited to post this. I'll put it up as soon as I can here, and then June 12th is the date that she
Yeah, and it's
gets to
Passaic
maybe.
County, New Jersey Family Court. And if anyone out there has any sort of
Yes,
insight into this,
yes.
I would love to hear from them.
And also, if anyone wants to put you on their podcast, the more you're out there talking about this, I think other people will benefit from it who are also struggling in this space. And this is how we stop this nonsense. This all started from the trans ideology. Ugh. The damage that is being done to families, to people, to kids, just from the trans, it's shocking and disgusting, and we need to stop it already. So thanks, AJ, and thanks everybody for watching, liking, subscribing, getting this out there. Pass it around. If you know someone that brings AJ on to talk about it, June 12th is the date. Let's send a lot of good energy. And with that, I'll see you guys on Wednesday on the live. And thanks again for always tuning in and supporting the channel. Appreciate it a lot.